Hey peeps, welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about 5 benefits of owning YieldMax funds. Let's get it. So the first reason why you might want to consider owning YieldMax funds is because they have the highest yields on the market. So what do I mean? Well, if you take a look at, we'll just take a look at a few. For example, TSLY currently has about a 70% yield that recently got cut. We all know that. You got OARK, which had a 56% yield. And keep in mind, even after these cuts, the dividend yields may go back up. We've seen this before. It's not the first time this has happened. You got NVDY, which it doesn't really show the yield here, but if we go to the YieldMax website, you can see it's 49%. And you can basically just see the distribution rates here. So you got APLY, 14%. It'll probably go back up on that one. 17% on FB, 17% on GUI, 26% on NFLY, 26% on AMZ. And let's compare this to some other funds that are out there, like let's say USOI is a good one. So USOI would be about a 24% yield. So a lot of these positions that you can see here actually have that yield beat, with the exception of GUI, FB, and APLY pretty much. We'll take a look at another high yielder, which is CLM. CLM currently offers about a 17% yield, so basically all of these beat that except for one. Another good one would be SVOL. So 15% yield, pretty much all except APLY is beating that. And the last example I want to use here is SPYI. Hopefully it actually shows up here. So you get about a 12% yield on this one. So pretty much all of these are beating the yields on these other funds. So that would be the first reason. You're getting the highest yields on the market. I personally do not know of any other place that you could get a better yield than these funds, with the exception of Clip. That would be the only other exception on the entire market for dividend investors who just simply want to buy and hold for passive income. This is pretty much about the best you're going to get, unless you trade options or futures or something else to pull in more income. So the second reason would be, or the second benefit would be, that options is traded for you. You don't actually have to trade options here. There is a fund manager, Jay Pestricelli, I think his name is, who manages all these funds for you. You don't have to do all the legwork. If you like having the free time, you just want to sit back and pull in some income. You don't want to have to sit there and look at the charts and the theta and delta and all that jazz. Time decay, figure out what strategy you're going to use, back test, all that stuff. That requires a lot of time and effort. I can tell you guys right now, as a futures trader, as somebody who does day trade futures with a live account with real money, it requires a lot of time to develop a strategy to understand how the particular market works. In this case, it would be futures. In that case, it would be options. So that way you don't end up blowing up your account or, get kind of fudged by the market, financially speaking, because you did a big no-no that the markets are going to charge you an arm and a leg for. Just to give you guys an example, I pulled up this options trades gone wrong on YouTube. You could type this in yourself to kind of see some of the disasters that happen from people being reckless with trading options. This does also happen with futures too. I've seen guys in futures lose 10, 20, even sometimes upwards of $50,000 in a single session. Sounds crazy, but it's true. So you got this dude here. Apparently this guy lost 106,000. I don't know the details of the video because I haven't watched them, but you guys can go watch this if you want to, just to kind of educate yourself. Take a look at some other ones. This dude lost 667,000, that's absolutely bonkers. I don't know that I would ever be risking that much money in trading. This YouTuber here lost $97,000. You got options trading gone wrong short here. Scalping options gone wrong. Options play gone wrong. Guy loses $50,000 swinging during earnings on Robinhood. So I mean, yeah, I've personally seen some videos where guys have traded in like the forex markets or options or something like that, and they just got absolutely destroyed in their trades. I mean, just destroyed, like wiped out completely their entire account balance in like 5 minutes, from being reckless for options. So being in YieldMax gives you guys some kind of safety net. I mean, yeah, okay, you get maybe potentially debatable whether it really exists or not, NAV erosion. I say it's debatable because if the price of the shares go down and you made it short term, but you're still getting paid dividends, well, the dividends offset that drawdown in whatever the yield max fund is, like Tesla, for example. And if you're taking profits on the way up and DCAing on the way down, you're reducing your cost basis, which reduces your risk. So you made profit on the way up, you have a lower cost basis on the way down, and you're also receiving income while you're sitting at the lows. So that also decreases the chance of NAV erosion. So that's the second reason. It's a very passive approach. You don't have to get into trading options yourself. You can just let somebody else do it for you and collect the money. So the third reason would be diversification. As you guys can see here on the YieldMax website, they have a lot of different options here. We initially thought that they were only going to come out with like maybe 6 or 8 tops. We didn't realize that they were going to try to do somewhere between 12 to 20 different YieldMax funds, but that's good. That means that investors get diversification. They get different sectors of the market. They get different companies that they can get exposure to the price action of. So you got OARK here, which is basically all your future disruptive tech stocks. You get a lot of small cap tech stocks. And as a matter of fact, if we type in, say, ARKK holdings, click on this, you guys can pretty much see all of the holdings here for OARK. So there's Tesla. So Tesla lovers, if you buy OARK, you're going to get exposure to Tesla. Roku, Zim, Coinbase, UiPath, Square, DraftKings. So you get a little bit of everything here. You get electric vehicles, you get online conference calls, you get crypto, you get Square is kind of Bitcoin and some other stuff. DraftKings, online betting, you get gaming. Shopify, it's like an online e-shopping. You get a little biotechnologies here. Healthcare. I mean, you get a good mix of everything. Robinhood, that's an investing platform. CRISPR Technologies, you're talking genetic engineering at that point. So you guys get like a lot of different options here just by having exposure to ARKK or OARK in this case, if you want to get passive income. And I'll leave this in the description below so you guys can look at this for yourself. So you got TSLY, that's vehicles, autonomous electric vehicles. That's also very future disruptive technology right there. Apple, you get your iPhone. NVIDIA, you get like gamer PCs and gaming PC chips. You get AI chips. You get all kinds of other stuff. AI is obviously very revolutionary. So NVIDIA would be the one to be in at that point. Amazon, you get your package delivery distribution services, convenience-based delivery, Amazon Prime, and other things like Amazon Web Services and so on. Facebook, you get things like basically social media. You get to socialize online. They got Facebook Marketplace. Facebook has a lot of games. People like to go on there and play games, so you can get exposure to that and make income off of Facebook. Google, you got your Google advertising, Google search engine. Google also does cloud storage. That's another big thing that Google does. Enfly is basically video streaming. So for people that love to binge watch videos all day or movies all day, this is definitely your pick right here. Coney, exposure to Coinbase. I'm actually going to do a video on Coney and how you guys can maximize on the profit and the yield going into the next bull run here soon. A lot of people have been asking about that. We've heard your comments, guys. We're going to make a video on it, so don't worry. And if you're too scared to get into crypto directly and you don't want to run the risk of having your account hacked and have to figure out how to use cold storage and all that kind of stuff. You just want to collect the passive income. You want to have exposure to the volatility of crypto, but you don't want to actually own any crypto. This would be your best bet. Microsoft is, well, we know that they make the Xbox, so Xbox lovers out there, you get your pick too. And on top of that, you also have business and personal software suites like PowerPoint, Word, Excel, things like that. I personally use Excel to track all of my profits in swing trading and my dividend investment portfolios. DSO is another good one. You know, Disney, everybody loves Disney. They want to go on the rides, see Mickey Mouse and all that stuff. If you're into like the whole adventure kind of thing, this is definitely your pick. Zomo, this is oil or energy. Energy is another sector of the S&P. We're actually going to type in sectors of the S&P right here. Breakdown of all sectors of the S&P. So here's your basically 11 sectors right here. This would be Zomo right there. This would probably be Disney right here. You get Apple right here. Also Apple and OARK. This could be considered to be a piece of OARK too. The JPMO that's coming out for JP Morgan, that would be under the financials. So you get exposure to different sectors of the market through these funds. And so that pretty much covers the diversification piece of the YieldMax funds. That would be benefit number 3. Benefit number 4 would be the passive income. Again, you know, if you owned 1,000 shares of TSLY, even at the current distribution rate, which if we can see the current distribution rate, if you owned 1,000 shares of TSLY, which would cost you about, I think, $14,000 right now with the current prices. Keep in mind, if TSLY goes back to the all-time highs, it's going to cost you another $7,000. So basically, from $14,000 to $21,000 to own 1,000 shares. But anyways, you would basically get about $580 a month in passive income. I don't really know any other place that's going to give you that kind of income for that little amount of money. I mean, if you wanted to get $580 a month on QYLD, well, let's just take an example here and we'll compare the two actually. So if you had 1,000 shares of QYLD, you get about, I think it's $17.4 per month. So $174 a month. So you're getting roughly about a third of the potential income here. If we go over to the charts, so you got TSLY at $14. That would basically cost you about $14,000 to get $560 a month of passive income. And if we take a look at QYLD, it would cost you about $17,000. So you would have to pay $3,000 more just to get about a third of the income with the same effect in terms of money. So that's the passive income portion. And I mean, again, you guys can basically just, if you want to, you can just buy into one fund or you can buy into all of them. You can have 20, 50, 100 shares of each of these and have diversification and be pulling in the passive income too. And the fifth reason is some tech stocks do not pay out dividends and some do. So this is what's so great about YieldMax. You get the option to buy into some tech stocks that do not pay a dividend and probably will never pay a dividend, and you get the chance to make a dividend off of those companies. I know me personally, I used to think like, what if Amazon, what if Facebook, what if Tesla, what if these companies used to pay passive or started paying passive income like Apple and Microsoft do? Well, they never did. But now you get the option to get some passive income off of these companies that just are not going to pay a passive dividend. So let's take a look at what those are. You guys can see that OARK does pay a dividend, or sorry, my bad. So not OARK, ARKK. So ARKK does pay a dividend, but it only pays it once a year, and that's not really that bad. That's not such a bad deal, honestly, if you're into the whole future disruptive tech thing. But if we take a look at the share price, it's $43 a share. If you buy OARK instead, you're basically paying about a third of that. So that's ARKK. We have MSFT. They're currently paying 68% per share, but as you guys can see, the yield's pretty low and the share price is pretty high. I think it's like up there in the $200 to $300 range. AAPL pays a dividend. But again, Apple's about $200 a share. The yield's pretty low. As you guys can see, you'll get a much better deal with both APLY and probably the YieldMax version of Microsoft. So let's take a look at some of these other ones. We'll take a look at Tesla and NVIDIA. So as you guys can see here, Tesla does not pay a dividend. Take a look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA does pay a dividend, but their dividend history is not very consistent. And you only get a 0.03% yield with the current share price of NVIDIA being like $450 if we compare that to NVIDIA. Well, it shows the new dividend rate here, but as you guys can see, it's a slamming deal. For about $22 a share, you get 92 cents a month versus, $450 a share, you get 3 cents a month. If you're looking for passive income, NVIDIA is definitely the better option here. We keep going. You got AMZ, FB, GUI, and NFLY. None of these pay dividends. So you got AMZN, no dividend. Meta, no dividend. I think it's GOOG. Yeah, GOOG. You don't get a dividend there. NFLX. Again, no dividend. So let's scroll down to the last four. You got Coinbase, Microsoft, Disney, and Zomo. Coinbase does not pay a dividend. MSFT does pay a dividend, and they've been increasing it for a while, but again, the dividend yield's so low, I can pretty much almost guarantee that the YieldMax fund is going to pay much more in passive income than the underlying share here. And DSO and Zomo. So Disney just recently cut its dividend. If you guys don't know, they pretty much cut their dividend back here. A lot of dividend growth investors were kind of salty about this, and it's understandable because, as you guys can see, they were paying a dividend for a really long time, and they pretty much increased it nonstop for all those years. And yeah, I don't blame the dividend growth investors for being mad about this, but since they no longer pay a dividend, for those who still want to own Disney and get passive income, you can now have the option to buy DSO in exchange for that. And if we take a look at ExxonMobil, which is one that I do actually want to buy, but again, I think the share prices are probably too expensive right now for me personally. They have a pretty long dividend history of a track record of paying dividends. The dividend yield's pretty good, but you get 91 cents per share per quarter, which is probably definitely the best among all these underlying shares. But again, I can't guarantee anything, but I'm pretty certain that Zomo is going to pay more than ExxonMobil itself will. So anyways, these are the 5 benefits of owning YieldMax funds. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a comment down below, like and subscribe, and I will see y'all later. Peace.